I watched $342,000 vanish from my late father's commercial account because my uncle Travis executed a fake power of attorney, using an alt for obvious reasons. Specifics adjusted, the receipts are not. I'm Reid, a 28-year-old accountant from Columbus, Ohio, and the sole executor of my dad's estate. If you want to support the channel and hear more legal justice, hit that subscribe button right now. My father, Ray, spent 30 years building Ray's Auto Sales into a reputable local business. He started with 5 vehicles on a gravel lot and transformed it into a thriving dealership with 60 vehicles in prime inventory. Dad was the kind of man who shook hands, looked people in the eye, and kept meticulous paper logs of every transaction. I grew up washing windshields, tag marking keys, and eventually studying the financial ledgers that kept the business alive. Because I pursued a career in forensic accounting, Dad frequently consulted me on his business finances, especially as his health began to decline. Then there was his younger brother, my uncle Travis. Travis was a professional dreamer who treated my dad like a personal ATM. Travis had tried his hand at 4 different failed business ventures, including a luxury rental scheme that left him bankrupt. For the last 5 years, Dad had tolerated Travis working at the lot as a junior buyer. It was pure charity. Travis would roll into the office around 11 a.m., smelling of expensive cologne, wearing a flashy Michael Kors watch, and complaining about the quality of local coffee. He drove a company-owned Ford Mustang, put his personal fuel on the corporate shell card, and regularly treated his friends to steak dinners at Ocean Prime on the company dime. Dad always grumbled about it, but family loyalty kept him from cutting Travis loose. The dynamic in our family was deeply fractured because of this. My grandparents had always treated Travis as the golden child who just needed one lucky break, while my dad was the reliable workhorse expected to carry the financial burden. When my dad had a sudden, fatal heart attack at age 58, the grief absolutely leveled me. But, while I was sitting in the funeral home trying to choose a casket, Travis was already at the lot, changing the digital codes on the key safe. 2 days after the funeral, the real nightmare began. As the sole executor named in my dad's valid, legally registered will, I called a family meeting at the probate attorney's office. The will was clear. Dad left his personal home to my mother, who resides in an assisted living facility, and he left 100% of Ray's Auto Sales, including the real estate lot and all bank accounts, to me. Dad knew I had the financial sense to keep the business running to support my mother's long-term medical care. When the attorney read the terms, Travis did not cry. He laughed out loud. Travis stood up, adjusted his blazer, and pointed a finger at me. Travis said, "This piece of paper is completely worthless. Ray signed a new corporate operating agreement 3 months ago. I am a 50% partner in the lot, and I have full administrative control over the financial assets." I stared at him in utter disbelief. I knew my dad's business inside and out. There was absolutely no way Dad would have given Travis half the business without telling me. I asked Travis to produce the document. Travis smirked, patted his breast pocket, and told me I would see it in due time through his legal counsel. The next morning, I drove to the dealership to secure the office records. When I arrived, the locks on the main glass doors had been completely replaced. A brand new vinyl banner was hanging over the original sign, reading, "Travis Auto Group." My heart hammered against my ribs. I walked up to the window and saw Travis sitting in my dad's old leather chair, with his feet kicked up on the oak desk. I banged on the glass until he unlocked it. I demanded to know what he was doing. Travis laughed and handed me a laminated piece of paper. It was a corporate resolution, dated 90 days prior, bearing my father's signature. Below it was a notarized signature from a local notary named Brent, who happened to be Travis's closest golfing buddy. The document explicitly granted Travis full power of attorney over the dealership's commercial operations and bank accounts in the event of my dad's illness or incapacitation. I told him, Dad was not incapacitated. He died suddenly. A power of attorney terminates immediately upon death. Travis smiled, a slow, predatory grin that made my stomach churn. Travis said, "Read the second page, college boy. It is a binding business succession codicil. It transfers all operating capital to my control to prevent operational disruption. The banks have already accepted it." I sprinted back to my car and pulled up my phone to check the business bank feeds. My access codes had been revoked. I immediately drove to Huntington National Bank, where our primary commercial accounts were held. I presented my certified executor papers to the branch manager, whom I had known for years. The manager looked physically ill as he pulled up the screens. The manager whispered, "Reid, I am so sorry. Your uncle came in yesterday afternoon. He presented a notarized corporate resolution, a death certificate, and a signed authorization form. He transferred the entire operating cash balance out of the primary account. The exact balance of that account was $342,650. It was our entire reserve fund, meant for purchasing upcoming spring inventory at the regional auto auctions and covering the high commercial insurance premiums." I asked where the money went. The manager shook his head and explained that it had been wired to a freshly established corporate account at Fifth Third Bank, registered under the name Travis Auto Group LLC. Because Travis possessed a notarized document that appeared fully valid on its face, the bank teller had executed the transfer without realizing a bitter probate dispute was brewing. I sat in my car in the bank parking lot, trembling with rage. My dad's life work was being cannibalized by his lazy brother. If that $342,650 vanished permanently, the lot would default on its floor plan insurance within 30 days, the state would revoke our dealer license, and my mother's assisted living payments would bounce. Travis thought he had pulled off the perfect heist. He assumed that because I was a young accountant, I would get bogged down in a 2-year probate lawsuit while he spent the money. But Travis made a fatal error. He forgot exactly what I do for a living. I do not just look at spreadsheets. I hunt down financial criminals. Instead of screaming at him or calling the police immediately with weak evidence, I decided to play the long game. I needed undeniable, airtight proof of fraud that no judge could dispute. I contacted an old colleague of mine, a certified forensic document examiner who spent 20 years working for federal law enforcement. I paid him a retainer of $3,500 out of my personal savings account to analyze the signatures Travis had used. Next, I needed to check the digital trail. My dad kept a secondary, cloud-based backup of his office computer that Travis did not know existed. I had set it up for Dad on an automated weekly sync to a secure Google Drive account 3 years ago. I logged in from my laptop at my kitchen table and pulled up the metadata for the days leading up to my dad's death. I discovered something incredible. On the exact date listed on Travis's fraudulent corporate resolution, my dad wasn't even in the state of Ohio. He had been at a dealer convention in Orlando, Florida. I pulled his airline digital receipts, his Hilton hotel folio, and 4 separate timestamped restaurant receipts from Disney Springs. My dad could not have signed a document in Columbus, Ohio, while eating a steak in Orlando, Florida, at 7:45 p.m. But the discovery got even better. I dug into the security system logs for the dealership office. Our high-definition cameras were tied to a physical digital video recorder hidden inside a false ceiling panel in the detailing bay. Travis had unplugged the main office computer, but he completely forgot about the hidden recorder. I snuck onto the lot at 3 a.m. on a Sunday morning using an old master key to the back garage door. I retrieved the digital video recorder storage cards and drove straight back to my apartment. When I pulled up the footage from the night after my dad passed away, I struck absolute gold. At 11:14 p.m., the cameras captured Travis entering the office using his old manager key. He was accompanied by his friend Brent, the notary. The footage clearly showed Travis sitting at my dad's desk with a lightbox, tracing my dad's signature onto a stack of legal documents. Brent was standing right beside him, stamping the papers with his official state notary seal and checking his watch. They were laughing. At one point, Travis held up the forged document to the camera, gave a thumbs up, and took a swig from a bottle of my dad's Blanton's bourbon. I had them red-handed on high-definition video committing multiple felonies. Armed with the Orlando hotel receipts, the forensic examiner's certified report confirming the signature was an identical trace overlay, and the raw video files, I didn't just go to the police. If I filed a standard police report, Travis would get tipped off, withdraw the cash from Fifth Third Bank and cashier's checks, and hide it in an offshore account or physical safe. I needed to lock the trap before he knew it existed. I went straight to a high-powered commercial litigation attorney in downtown Columbus. We filed an emergency ex parte motion for a temporary restraining order and an immediate asset freeze against Travis and Travis Auto Group LLC. An ex parte motion means the judge reviews the evidence secretly without notifying the defendant beforehand, specifically to prevent the flight of stolen assets. When the county judge saw the video footage of Travis tracing the signature while the notary drank bourbon, she signed the order within 15 minutes. She also issued a civil capias warrant and authorized the county sheriff to assist me in executing a premises seizure. I chose the perfect moment to spring the trap. Travis had spent the last 2 weeks planning a massive grand reopening event for his renamed dealership. He had taken $45,000 of the stolen cash to buy local radio advertisements, hire a live country band, and cater a gourmet barbecue buffet from a popular local restaurant. He had invited prominent local business owners, used car wholesalers, and our entire extended family, including my grandparents, to show off his new status as a self-made mogul. The event took place on a bright Saturday afternoon. I parked my car across the street at a Trader Joe's lot and watched through binoculars. The lot looked packed. Travis was walking around in a tailored suit, shaking hands, holding a glass of champagne, and standing next to a brand new $85,000 GMC Yukon that he had pulled straight out of our premium inventory for his personal use. My grandparents were beaming, telling everyone how Travis had finally stepped up to save the family legacy. At exactly 2 p.m., right when Travis stood up on the outdoor stage microphone to thank everyone for coming, 2 marked county sheriff cruisers and a flatbed tow truck pulled directly onto the lot, blocking the main entrance. The sirens were off, but the flashing red and blue lights illuminated the entire rows of cars. The music cut out completely. The crowd fell dead silent. Travis stepped down from the stage, his face turning a deep crimson color. He walked toward the lead deputy, waving his hands. Travis yelled, "What is the meaning of this? This is a private corporate event. You are trespassing on my property." I walked onto the lot from across the street, accompanied by my litigation attorney and a certified copy of the judge's freeze order. I walked right past my stunned grandparents and stood 3 feet away from Travis. I said, "It is not your property, Travis. And that bank account you emptied has been frozen since 9 a.m. yesterday morning." Travis stared at me, his eyes wide with panic. He tried to maintain his bravado in front of the local business community. He stammered, "I have a legal notarized document, Reid. You can't do this. Get this kid off my lot." My attorney stepped forward and handed a thick legal packet to Travis and a copy to the sheriff. My attorney announced loudly, "We are serving you with an emergency injunction for corporate conversion, fraud, and estate asset dissipation. The court has frozen all accounts linked to your name and LLC. Furthermore, the state secretary's office has been notified of the fraud, and a formal complaint has been logged against your notary, Brent, for immediate license revocation and criminal misconduct." Travis's hands started shaking so violently he dropped his champagne glass. It shattered on the asphalt. He looked at the paperwork and saw the high-resolution screenshots of himself caught on camera tracing my dad's signature at midnight. All the color drained entirely from his face. My grandmother rushed over, grabbing my arm. She cried, "Reid, what are you doing to your uncle? He is trying to keep your father's business alive. You are ruining this family." I looked her dead in the eye and said, "He stole $342,000 meant for my mother's medical care. He forged my dead father's name on camera. He is not a businessman, Grandma. He is a thief." The crowd began whispering loudly. Several local business owners immediately started walking toward their cars, realizing they were standing in the middle of a major criminal investigation. The tow truck operator backed up to the $85,000 GMC Yukon Travis had been driving, hooked it up, and began hoisting it onto the flatbed right in front of everyone. Travis screamed at the tow truck driver, "Stop! That is my vehicle." The sheriff's deputy stepped in front of Travis, placing a hand on his handcuffs. The deputy said, "Sir, step back. This vehicle is listed as an asset of Ray's Auto Sales, and the court-appointed executor is taking possession. If you interfere, you will be arrested immediately for obstructing justice." Travis sank to his knees right there on the pavement, surrounded by half-eaten plates of barbecue and deflating balloons. His grand reopening had turned into a public, humiliating execution of his reputation. The legal fallout was swift and total. Because our civil case was backed by irrefutable video and forensic evidence, Travis's defense attorney realized they had zero leverage. We secured a permanent civil judgment against Travis for the full $342,650, plus $18,000, in legal fees. Because we caught the money early, $297,000 was successfully recovered directly from the frozen Fifth Third account before he could waste it. To make up for the remaining $45,650 he spent on his pathetic marketing stunt and catering, the court ordered the seizure and forced liquidation of Travis's personal assets, including his luxury watch collection, his customized golf cart, and his personal equity in a rental property. He was left completely bankrupt, with a permanent fraud judgment attached to his name that can never be discharged through bankruptcy court. As for his friend Brent, the notary public, he lost his official state commission within 30 days and is currently facing formal criminal charges for felony notary fraud and conspiracy. The local prosecutor's office picked up the video evidence I provided, and both Travis and Brent are currently awaiting their formal criminal trial dates for grand larceny and forgery. Ray's Auto Sales is now fully back under my control. The original sign has been cleaned, the vinyl banner was thrown into the dumpster where it belonged, and the lot is thriving under proper, honest management. Every single dollar generated goes directly toward ensuring my mother receives the highest quality care possible at her facility. Travis wanted to live like a king on my father's sweat and blood, but he learned the hard way that a forensic accountant will always find the truth. My family tried to steal my dad's legacy, but they forgot I hold the keys to the vault. Next time, I will tell you about the time my cousin tried to claim my grandmother's waterfront cottage using a handwritten napkin will.